Hello everybody and welcome to Season 2 of Supersymmetry. I am super excited to be able to play this again. Yeah, it's been a little while since I have last played Supersymmetry and a lot has changed. There has been a few updates actually since I last started, or since I was last playing Supersymmetry, and after the completion of All the Mod 7 to the Sky, I've decided to take on Supersymmetry again, and my main goal in this is to achieve the EBF and produce enough aluminium to be stable at medium voltage tier, since there is just so many things to do in this mod pack, and it is still in beta access, but it's continuing to be updated, and the Discord server for Supersymmetry is really good. Everyone there in it is really kind and understanding. I will definitely point you in the right direction if you or anyone wants to actually go to that server and chat in there. But to begin Supersymmetry, I need to start collecting these rocks. Now, I am kind of on the clock at the moment. I need to collect these rocks as soon as I possibly can. I also need to be looking for twigs. Oh yes, sticks in this, they come from breaking any of these leaves. I'm remembering now how to actually play Supersymmetry. I next need to find gravel. This is required to make flint and then a flint knife. Also, finding strawberry bushes out in the open like this is really important. Food in Supersymmetry is a tiny bit of a nightmare, so any food like this is going to be really useful later on. I'm also going to point out the fact that I probably shouldn't be running this early on, because food is quite an issue in the early game, and I don't have a good way to actually get more food, so not sprinting will reduce the amount of hunger I end up using. Flint shards are made by right-clicking flint on stone. I actually need this type of flint knife, not this one. Now I can use this knife on any grass blocks and then give me these plant fibers. This is one of the prerequisites to actually creating my first tools. So a flint pickaxe. And you may be wondering why I'm trying to rush the early game. Well, nighttime in this is horribly dangerous. And if I'm not doing something, I'm going to literally have to dig a hole and stay in it until the night is over. That's the reason why I'm rushing a pickaxe, so that I can actually do some mining when it is night. Using the plant string along with flint shard and a stick will produce a flint hatchet. Now I can chop down trees. And then I can make a crafting table. Okay, well, that was a fail. I had to spend a night underground. Anyway, using the flint knife with rocks, I can turn these into more flint shards nice and easily. With the extra flint shards, I'm now going to craft a pickaxe. I'm also going to pick up one of these flint shovels. Collect some stone for a furnace. I'm also going to chop down one of these rubber trees. The sticky resin can be used now to make some torches. Torches are invaluable for me. Really useful considering we have realistic darkness in this. And now I'm ready to actually start mining. And one of the lovely features which I'm liking about this new version is you spawn with one of these prospectors scanner. This will basically show ore veins for where they actually are in the world. And thanks to the ore prospecting mod, I can also mark them on journey map and visually see where they actually are. So returning to ore veins now is going to be pretty easy. I'm now going to spend some time and mine up this chalcopyrite vein. Copper is going to be especially important in the early game, since this is used to make all of the bronze machines. Also, finding a clay vein underground, this is actually going to be really useful, especially in the making of clay buckets. I'm going to leave these blocks here since I will be making clay buckets out of them. Also, how cool are the weather sounds in this? Like, this is the ambient atmosphere of Supersymmetry. It's thundering, it's raining, you can hear the rain dropping. You can hear it thundering. You can hear the wind howling. That's a compelling reason to play something like this. And smelting the chalcopyrite ore, which I've just collected, will start producing me some copper ingots. And mining just a few blocks down from where the chalcopyrite vein is, I've found cassiterite, which is tin. This is the next material required to make bronze. And after smelting some cobblestone in a furnace, I can make a flint mortar. This is required in the early game to actually grind these ingots into a dust to make the bronze dust. Inefficiently make bronze dust, that is. Using the bronze which I've just smelted means that I can make an even better mortar than the flint one. Since I'm going to be making quite a lot of bronze, this one is going to be very useful for me. With bronze in my hand, I'm going to now start making some of these GregTech tools. There's a few to make, but the most important ones for me is going to be the mining hammer and the tools actually required to make this mining hammer, which is going to be a bronze file and a bronze hammer. Oh yeah, a bronze mining hammer. This now means that I can mine with the utmost efficiency. Instead of mining a 1x1, this mines a 3x3, and it's much faster than the flint pickaxe which I was using. I'm also going to spend some time mining this coal vein, since the furnaces are currently running on wood planks, and that's not that efficient in GregTech. It's much more sensible to actually run them on coal. Coal is plentiful in GregTech. And I am literally living inside one of these ore veins at the moment, just so that I don't have to endure the night. And thanks to GregTech's tools, I can pick up one of these bronze axes. This thing is brilliant in the early game, and it's brilliant because it will chop down entire trees all in one go. And I will probably break this in one go chopping down one of these, so maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah, this is going to speed up the tree harvesting so much. We see if this can chop down this tree. Yeah, it didn't break. Oh, this mod pack. Oh, I love this. I love these axes. They're really useful in the early game. You can pretty much expect in GregTech to have chests and chests full of ores. I'm already starting to get a collection of ores, it's super. I'm going to now set my home here, since I'm going to call this my base temporarily, at least until I decide where I'm actually going to move to actually build the proper base. And while I'm waiting for things to smelt, I'm going to try my hardest to follow along with the quests, since that's something which I have failed to in the past before, and I've ended up skipping quests. Actually, you know what? So this is where I'm at with the quest book so far. I'm up to the gregification tools. Soon I'm going to need to make a primitive blast furnace, along with a coke oven and primitive water pump, since this is going to be required to actually produce water for steam production. The next couple of tools which I'm going to pick up is going to be a bronze saw, a bronze screwdriver, a bronze wrench, and a bronze wire cutters, since these are going to be required to craft basically anything from all of the GregTech machines, pipes, everything requires all of these tools. I'm also going to spend the time and make a couple of these crafting stations now that I've made the GregTech tools. These are going to be exceptionally important as they store a small internal chest. They store a small amount of items inside the crafting table, and it will also not drop any tools when I leave the crafting table. There's also specific slots made only for the tools, which is much nicer than just using my inventory. Making one of these spades is going to speed up mining things like dirt, sand, and gravel, since this one from GregTech can mine a 3x3 instead of the 1x1. I'm now at a stage where I need to start collecting some materials to actually make a few coke ovens. The coke ovens aren't strictly required to actually fuel the primitive blast furnace, except I'm going to actually do things differently this time playing. I'm going to make 4 blast furnaces to start off with, and I will start using the primitive blast furnace with creosote. Not creosote, coal coke, So I'm going to need a pretty decent supply of clay. Clay is used to make the coke oven bricks. Since I'm waiting for it to become day, no surprise there, I'm going to craft one of these home blocks. Since the bed is locked behind Eevee tier, this is the bed recipe. I've showed this one before. A substitute for that is this home block. Or it doesn't allow you to sleep, but it does allow you to set a spawn point. So if I die, I should spawn back here. The first thing to make for the coke oven bricks is going to be one of these brick wooden molds. This will actually allow me to start making these unfired coke oven bricks required for the coke oven. Yeah, a whole lot of these. I have a few of these to smelt to make these coke ovens. And after crafting 73 coke oven bricks along with 4 coke oven controllers, I'm now ready to build coke ovens. And for these coke ovens, I'm going to be wall sharing them, because wall sharing these will end up saving a few coke oven bricks. Look at these coke ovens. 4 to start with. 4 is a good number, and I'm going to be running coal through these, since producing steel is going to require quite a bit of coal coke. Also, hitting things with the hammer from Greg Tech will disable the sound. It will enable sound muffling, so these won't make loads of sound when I walk past it. Remember when I said that I'd end up using this clay? I'm going to now use this clay to produce some clay buckets. Using one of these clay tools, I can form this clay into a clay bucket. That's a clay bucket. Whoops. Now I'm going to spend some time exploring for some of the materials required to make this blast furnace. One of which being limestone, so that I can actually make the slacked limestone, I think. I'm also highlighting these ore veins just by collecting these small piles on the surface. Yeah, just like that. It's going to highlight that there's now a garnerite vein underneath where I am on the map. Honestly, how cool is some of the terrain in this? This is on top of a pretty small hill is what I'm going to call this. This is everything which is surrounding me. So there's forests, a lot of trees. I mean, it looks so cool. Yeah, this is pretty cool. And right beneath this hill, there is some of this limestone which I need. Combining the quick lime dust with any water bucket will produce slack lime or calcium hydroxide. It is a tiny bit risky doing this in the middle of the night. I'm fully waiting for a creeper or something to come and attack me. Then combining flint dust with the slack lime along with clay dust and fine piles of sand, this will produce the fire clay dust. 4 stacks of this. Compressing it with the brick wooden form, this will now produce a lot of compressed fire clay. And now I'm ready to build the primitive blast furnace. But before that, I'm going to go and collect some magnetite ore, since that's actually going to be the required material to smelt into pig iron for this blast furnace. And it's close by. It's right next to this ore vein. Hello, zombie. You're standing right above my hole and preventing me from going out. In all fairness, that is the first mob I've actually seen in this. Taking a little while for me to find a creature which is dangerous to me. Right, I'm now ready to build this blast furnace. The primitive blast furnace. And this multi-block is slightly bigger than the coke ovens, but placing it up against the coke ovens is not going to be an issue. There you go. Magnetite goes in here, along with the coal coke which I've just produced using these coke ovens. Now I'm able to produce steel and pig iron, along with iron. Not in that order. In order, it's pig iron, iron, then steel. Correction, pig iron, when hit with a hammer, will produce wrought iron. Then the wrought iron can either be smelted in a furnace or sent through the primitive blast furnace to produce steel, or iron if it's smelted in a furnace. Yes, the pig iron quest. Good, good. Hitting this with a hammer will also produce wrought iron. Melting the wrought iron ingots in a furnace will then produce iron ingots. After a little bit of time, I can actually make iron now. These are all good steps to progressing further in Supersymmetry. I'm just saying. The main reason for me to actually rush making iron production is going to be making this chisel from the chisel mod. This requires iron plates. It's always good when you first make steel in GregTech. That's 2 more quests. 1 more quest. The icon's a bit broken on it. In hindsight, I probably should have made a steel chisel instead of the iron one, because just for a little bit of extra, just coal coke basically. Yeah, for an extra bit of coal coke, this has 5,000 durability compared to 512. So I would definitely suggest, instead of making instead of making iron, make the steel chisel from chisel. Do as I say, not as I do, is how the saying goes. And now this is the bit where I'm not quite sure how this is going to actually turn out, because what I actually want to do is to try to do some building and explain mainly how I do building in Minecraft now. Yes, after watching another YouTuber called Threefold, I learned of this strategy to build basically within chunks all the time. So if I highlight the chunk grid, if you make this arrangement on the corners of these chunks, so this ring, this outer ring here, this one is a 17 by 17, then the inside will always be a 15 by 15. And if I expand it going that way, going any direction, this will always repeat within this chunk, which means that for these ones, I could basically build these as walls, as long as they follow this rule. So corner here, corner here, corner here, and a corner here. It will always repeat in the way that I want it to. So from this corner, it has to be 15 blocks this way. Then on the next block has to be the corner of this grid, and then repeat it to make a square. Hopefully that works for everyone understanding how I actually basically build from now on, and how I'm going to build the structure of this base. And I do think that the safest bet is to continue living underground, because I'm still not that powerful and mobs are an issue. I'm very weak and fragile at the moment. So without further ado, let's begin building. Well, the building is done. I'm happy with how this turned out. It's turned into a little circle. I wasn't sure about the ceiling actually. I originally had that so there was more layers, but I ended up swapping at least 1 to 2 layers, and I'm also using these shell bricks from Supersymmetry's mod, along with the diorite from Chisel. I've also switched to these bronze crates, as they store the same amount of items as a double chest compared to what I was using, and they only take up 1 block. So yeah, I'm very happy with this. I'm gonna wrap up the episode here though. I have a lot of work to do. I need to basically expand the base so that I can actually start making some steam machines, because I don't want to place the steam machines and then be untidy basically. That will be for the next episode though. As always, thank you everyone for watching, and I hope to see you all again some other time.